Sashi Puki Jukshin Metok Chang Rira Lingshin Yende Gempadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Owargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamiryatayami Sangye Chudang Soki Chonamla Jangchu Bardu Dakmi Gyapsuchi Dagi Chungyen Gibe Sunam Ki Chola Benchir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Chudang Soki Chonamla Jangchu Bardu Dakmi Gyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Ki Drola Benchir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Chudang Soki Chognam La Jamshu Bardu Dagni Gyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Ki Drola Benchir Sangye Druparsho.
That's you. You okay? You're not sick, right?
No, she is sick.
Okay. So Dr. Kramer found the original Sanskrit for this verse that was quoted by Chandrakirti about the Sankhya's. He just says the Sankhya's say, and sometimes it says the Sankhya Shung says, the classic of the Sankhya's, but he found it in a text called, what is it called?
The Sankhya Karikas.
The Sankhya Karikas.
I'll put it there.
Thank you.
And it's all pretty much what you would expect. The nice thing is it says napakartar, navikarti, because we weren't sure about this last syllable. Some of like half the books have yin, but here it's very clear, neither nor. Okay, no. Okay. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. It's nice that we have a word for namgir, vikurti. Okay. And mahat, it's confirmed that it's both short A's, and it's nice to have it. Sawe rangshin mula prakriti. Mula prakriti. Okay.
I'm really impressed that when Chandrakirti says that he's saying
this is what they say.
They do, and we still agree that they say that.
Yeah, because they haven't had contact for 700 years, right? Yeah, more, 1,300 years.
That's cool.
1,300 years later, it's still the same.
Between Chandrakirti and the Sanskrit?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Chandrakirti has quoted them faithfully, is Ben's point.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. So far, I mean, we don't know everything, but... Okay. So I was kind of advertising, hopefully, that we get to see something about the interaction of the Kirtis. Like, what's the interaction of all these guys? These 25, how do they interact? And how does that relate to getting to freedom? So we still have that to go. And then we're going to retreat back to Gombar Absal itself by Tsongkhapa. And that will give us enough ammunition to go do the one verse in Venerable Udpala's text and a more serious section in your text. Okay. All right. And this is kind of what I want to do with the mind-only school, you know. I want to overkill it. And I want to understand it more than the text. Then I want to translate the text. So, and that's going to... So we just started building up texts that we could read to read the one we have, you know. So, and we found a lot. Okay, we found 13 volumes in the Tengyur and mind only, and I'd say we have about 6 or 7 commentaries that will help. Okay, Tsongkhapa himself is not enough to understand what he's doing because he uses a lot of nicknames. Okay. Rambati namagirwe sok tamche kepe dapa kepe kebu nyewa kepe, tamche kepe, dupa kepe, kebu nyewa sawa por, chita gyo japa chate. Rimba de nama gyo so tamche kepe. So that's the order in which the whole group of expressions start. One leads to the other, right? Do we need to review that? Nah. You know, you understand it. They are triggered in the order that they were listed. Okay, and then he says, so that's how they grow. Then Dupakepi Kebu. Dupakepi Kebu means Purusha who suddenly got this craving for what? What was the example?
Sound.
Sound, yeah. Purusha wants, and it could be Adam and Evical. You know, it could be man wanted something to do. You know, I have a feeling I was sleeping on it last night. I was thinking, it's probably like man wanted. And so Prakriti made sound. And I think it's something that mythical. Okay? And I think Purusha stands for all people or something like that. Anyway, so Purusha, who Kespa, Kebu, who got two different uses of Ke.
Oh, wow.
Kebu, who suddenly got a desire, got some desires for something, okay, wanted things. And it's similar to the Buddhist creation, the Abhidharma, garden story, Garden of Eden story. Okay. So, okay. Dupakebu. Then, how is it that Purusha becomes the immediate eater? Okay, Nyewa Sawapo. Okay, how does Purusha become the immediate eater? So far we had Atman as an eater, and it was tempting to say it was Prakriti, but we're not sure, and I don't think it is. Okay, so how do they become a consumer? Jita Gyua, Jupaja, I'll tell you. Okay, Jupaja. And this is where it gets a little, really mythical. Nawala sope loe wambo. What are those?
Hearing and rest.
In
Sense
Sanskrit,
powers.
manendriya. Okay, the mental sense powers he calls them, as opposed to the karmendriyas,
Action.
the
powers.
things that do things.
Mhm.
The ear and the rest, okay, meaning sense powers. Ki yiki chimba labadaki, they get some kind of blessing from the mind. They are somehow influenced by the mind. Okay, jinki lab normally means blessing. But jinki lab can also mean like miraculous transformation or something. So they are jinki lab by the mind. Daki. Yongsu sui drala sopa la. Then, because of that, yongsu sui yu, the objects which are held by the senses, meaning sound and etc. La le shembarche la, the mind takes a liking to them. The mind wants them. Buddhi wants them. Chepala, dene le shemba chepe la. Then the objects which Buddhi is attracted to, kebu semba chepe, Purusha starts thinking about them.
Mhm.
Okay, so go figure. I don't know. Okay. Deda kebu semba yepe rangingo yimbeisha. Because the nature of Purusha is to have a mind.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
To possess a mind.
Sempa,
This sempa means thinking, thoughts, as opposed to mind, right? Sempa yuki le, mentation, if you want to make it ununderstandable. Okay, thoughts. You know, and therefore that's why the very nature of mind is to have thoughts. Purusha. Tak yu dag niran lung chu do she du do. And then it says to itself, I would like to experience niran lung chu. I would like to enjoy, in the sense of experience, these objects. Dag, I would like to experience these outer objects. Okay, these objects of the sense. Then it goes ahead, because of that desire, okay, it goes ahead and engages in the objects. It enjoys the objects. Now it gets spiritual. And so, out of desire, out of its desires, Purusha engages in those outer objects, sound. Sound has been supplied as per its orders, the restaurant order. And it experiences those objects. Kangitse chapa chumanyiki. And gradually the desire lessens. Okay, Kangitse, okay, and at some point, okay, the desire for the object gets less and less, having experienced it. Just like girlfriends and stuff.
Krishna, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that Chinwa is saying becomes less rather than just...
It literally says, due to the lessingness, Chungwanyi, ta, ta in Sanskrit, ti long a, due to the lessening, it becomes a gerund. Due to the lessening of the desire, at that point, kangitse, okay, then Kibu, Purusha, gradually starts to lose chalwa, its desire, its attachment to those objects. It gets tired of those objects. Okay? It gets less, it doesn't want them as much as it used to, because it had them enough. Okay? And after it loses its attachment for those objects, they'd say, and then Rimki means, gradually, it begins to meditate on the on concentration, on meditation. It begins to meditate. Purusha begins to meditate. Okay? Samdengam. It begins to go into states of meditation. And Sai Shepa Yandapan Lang, it takes on a divine aspect, a divine mental aspect. Purusha, okay, person. And it gets thymic. This is one of the 5 types of visions. It's called the 5 eyes. Chenga. Chenga. Yeah, this is called the eye of a deity. Mm-hmm. He acquires the eye of a deity. And with that eye, he looks upon Prakriti. Okay. And when he does, then that one, which I take to be Prakriti, okay, when he does that, then he, meaning Prakriti, when Purusha does that, looks upon Prakriti with his Deva Aloka, with his Deva eyes, then, like the wife of another, okay, like another's wife, she becomes shy. Prakriti becomes shy. Lotsa means, she's. It's not quite shame. It's more like, don't stare at me. I'm somebody else's wife. Like a woman of another man. She gets embarrassed or shy. Ngonsa were kirbe. Dakla mi toshin tower guro. I don't know what this means. It's suspicious. Dagla mitro means it doesn't get angry at the Atman. It's suspicious. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And it becomes divorced. Okay. Dagla mitro shi. Tower guro. So I don't know what that part means. Isn't upset at the dog, at the Atman. And Tawagira means they become separated. Maybe Purusha and Prakriti, I think. They get divorced.
They were already though.
Well, it's coming. Nambagyo iso tamche kyang, and all those expressions that had popped out in sequence. Kewe rimba le dokpa, we get the reverse of how they popped out. They start to withdraw. Okay, so last, first, next, okay? They start to withdraw. They start to stop, dok, reverse their process, and they are slowly withdrawn. All the expressions are withdrawn. Gone, Jini to Raptu Shiwach here, and in the end they reach a final peace in suchness, or in it, which could mean Prakriti, I don't know. We had Deni problems yesterday, right? What was it yesterday?
They need referred to in Sage's text.
Yeah, in Sage's
It was
text.
about the wisdom of bliss. And
Yeah,
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a phrase
And I
that's nice.
didn't lose $50. So what they need refers to, we don't know. But given the context, I would say they withdraw back into Prakriti, into that thing,
Okay.
and
yeah.
and then it becomes some kind of
That makes sense.
vague entity. Selling more cure.
It becomes some kind of thing.
Vague, unclear entity. Misel.
Prakriti, we think.
I think, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It becomes some kind of amorphous
The opera
mess
they call
or
it.
something like that. Okay, it's lost its expressions. Okay, and at that time, Gebu Nyakchik. Nyakchik means that one and only that one standing there all by his lonesome. Okay, so Nyakchik means all by his lonesome.
Okay, oh yeah.
Maybe it's Kaivalya? That's Bashipa.
Flashika.
But it's a similar idea. Okay, it means, yeah, it could be Kaivalya.
This is just like going through the process of like the whole Savitarkanya.
Oh, yeah.
And here they finally clarify who it is that's left. Name means left. Only one of them is left, and that's Purusha. And because he's the only one left, we call it liberation.
Liberation comes from
That's liberation. Dechir, therefore, because he's the only one left standing, we call it he's free. He's finally free. Deni number Gyover Sharsin Kyan. And that, which I take to be Purusha, okay? The person who's left standing, okay? The one thing left standing, who's now liberated. We say is Takpa. Is said to be Takpa. unchanging. Okay, that Purusha is now unchanging. Why? Because Nambagyowa Shar Sinkyang, even though expressions have made their appearance, by the way, I think all these shas are mistakes.
What does Shar mean like that?
I think it's got to be sar, and I think this is sour. It doesn't make any sense. Shawa by itself means a deer. I think it's an error. Okay, we will have to check a carving of the auto commentary to the Majjhimaka Avatara. We'll have to check the carving for this 293b. Okay, but I think it's Sawa. And Jigme's really good at finding these things.
Finding the carving, not finding the.
The scan, she can
Finding
get
the
you the
scan.
scan.
Yeah, the scan only.
She's good at finding the scan. And then I predict that it will reveal that this is misspelled. Yeah, because shar, high tone would mean they make their appearance, but low tone shar means lame, bad leg, and this sha means deer, and I think they're both misspelled. I think they were sawa. I'm not sure.
So probably Shar and
It could be a past tense of shar. It just smells bad. Something's wrong here.
okay.
I mean, we could look up a piece of it and see if anybody quoted it. Okay.
Okay.
In a dictionary here, I don't know if this helps, but it says Shar was not being in full possession of one's. I mean, in that sense, it could be like alone.
Appearance is pretty good though.
That's what they use.
I suspect it's eat, but
Oh, Sa.
I think they're both eat.
Sa.
But I'm willing to go look elsewhere. Let's try these two places. Okay, that's our text. Okay,
Okay.
and it says Shawar and
Right.
Sharsin.
But that's where we
There's
got it.
5 matches.
Okay.
Oh, this is Tsongkhapa's explanation of all that. He skipped that part.
Great. Okay.
He did what came just before and he came what did just came in. And he skipped that part. Sneaky. That's not nice.
This thing about it.
Yeah, here also, this person skipped it. Oh, that's Tsongkhapa again. Yeah, this person skipped it.
Right. It's all elimination.
It's all by 408. It's just got different.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is it a different one? Yeah, they all everybody skipped it. Everybody left out that piece. Sorry. We'll have to, but we can figure it out from the scan. We have a scan.
Okay.
Okay. It could be an artificial past tense of sharwa, which means to make its appearance. But then sharwa doesn't make any sense. So what I would say is namba gyurwa sar sin kyang sawaram gyurwa niki. Although it has consumed the expressions, it has taken,
Okay. Yeah.
it has enjoyed the expressions because of the fact, niki, okay? Because of the fact that he will no longer consume,
Okay.
because he's tired, right? He lost his desire. Because of the fact he is no longer consumed, now he is just standing, isolated entity. Yen garwa means isolated. Okay? by himself, by his lonesome. Yangarwa means isolated. Taktu, he will forever stand there in liberation. Therefore, we say he's unchanging. He used to eat expressions, but now he's not eating them anymore. And because he's not eating them anymore, and because he's now standing in a state of stasis, isolated from the rest of the universe, we say he's unchanging. It is said that he is unchanging. That may be one of the qualities of Atman we had in the beginning. So maybe that Atman is Purusha. I don't know. Maybe it's Purusha in the end.
It has to be Purusha's the experiencer. I mean, most Sankhas don't even consider Prakriti sentient.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense because he's listing attributes that were in that verse.
Okay, good.
What was the second attribute in that verse? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, well, remember? No, but I wrote it down.
Attribute, would that be that?
No, we had a list of qualities. Oh, not the maker of results.
Yeah, here's maker. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I think he's going to that list.
Cool.
Oh, what's it say? Not the maker?
Not the maker.
Yeah, because this can be read as it's Prakriti who's the maker.
Right, should be.
Okay? Ni and only Prakriti. The Ni means Prakriti and only Prakriti is the maker. And of the expressions, some of them are also makers.
Right.
Okay?
Which we had in our verse from the Karikas.
But Dakni, the Atman, which maybe it's the evolution of Purusha after all this is done. Maybe because in sequence, he's now been perfected, and we're calling him. He's been called Atman since he stopped being Purusha. Okay, I'm just saying that those qualities may refer to the finished state of the liberated being, and maybe he gets to be called Atman. I don't know. But anyway, that's why the verse says he's not a maker.
Okay.
Ni che judo. Che judo means that's why the verse says he's not a maker. Why? Because with respect to what he used to do, Daki Chawa, with respect to his functions, former functions, he's become Nyomle Chen.
He's indifferent.
Yeah, you know Nyomle because of Nyomlepa. And it's oftentimes the author of a Buddhist scripture will sign it. This was done by Nyomlepa Losan Chukin Gyaltsen. He often calls himself Nyomlepa, the indolent one. Okay, so Nyomlepa is a literary word for indolent. So Purusha has become indolent with respect to his functions, and that's why we call him not a maker in the root verse. Okay. What was the next?
Yeah, I thought you asked me that. It's an unchanging thing, which is a functioning thing.
Oh, that he did already.
Which is in.
That he did
and
already.
then,
You got any more?
Yeah. He doesn't possess the gunas.
Oh, that's coming up next.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Never lung chupapo ni jike maybe tsugi ten simbanido. When we call him an experiencer, so I think it must come in the verse there somewhere. Experiencer.
In that verse, right? Purusha's neither. Oh no, we didn't say that. We said he's neither an evolute nor a maker nor an evoluter.
Well, this short sentence says, why he is an experiencer
Okay.
is something we already explained in the process we just described.
Okay.
Okay, why he is an experiencer, which is really the same as sapo. So maybe they're glossing sapo,
Okay.
which was the first one, I think, right? Now, Dulda Mumada Nindo Kirashin maybe China Yinda Mepanido, and he only doesn't have the gunas because he lacks the nature of these three. Tamas, sorry, Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. So now they kind of switching to the word Atman up here. You see, they're not saying Purusha anymore. So somehow they're talking about. It feels like not. I don't know the Sankhya system very well, but it feels like they're talking that after he gets perfected and isolated, and everything else has become an amorphous mess. He's Atman. He's like the single Godhead, and okay, and he doesn't have a quality of those three gunas, which is something that the Vaisheshikas don't agree.
Right.
They differ from the Sankhya's. They say those gunas are the foundation of all things, so everything has to have them. I would read it as because he doesn't cover all things.
Okay.
Because he's not the universal God or something. Okay? Because he doesn't extend to all things. We say he is the one without action. De tabuni kebeke perdako. These are the qualities of Purusha. So it's clear. We were calling it Prakriti for a while. Now we know better. So those qualities that were listed are qualities of Purusha. Okay? These are the features of Purusha.
Deliberate, not deliberated Purusha. Deliberated Purusha?
I don't know. You see, he doesn't specify. But the verse, the reason we're studying this is that we want to know what's Atman when we deny Atman. And we're getting out of 7 subjects, we're getting, the first one is, what do the non-Buddhist schools think is Atman? In the discussion of Atman, and we're discussing it because we want to know what's the object that ignorance thinks it sees. Okay? So we're going to describe Atman according to non-Buddhist schools. Then we're going to describe Atman according to the Buddhist schools. Now, it's only Prakriti, which is the doer. Okay? We already covered this? No. And from some of the expressions also, from among the expressions, some of them also act as doers. So Prakriti is big doer, but some of the expressions also have results, right? So they're also doers. Chir la she kang mena. What are they talking about when they say that? Somebody says, when you say some of the expressions also do things, can you clarify? Okay. I think that's where it's going. Nama gyowa kanda chik ni chepapo ni yin la, kanda chik ni chepapo ni mayin shi na. Yeah. He says, can you list which of the expressions are agents and which are not?
Okay.
What number of the expressions are chipapos, agents, and what number among them are not chipapos?
Okay. He probably, I thought he in the verse, right, he gave us a list of 7 plus Prakriti.
I don't know.
Okay.
Dila Cheda to Shipachawich here. Let's go into a little detail on this.
Okay.
Who's talking?
We're still Chantakirti.
We're still in Chantakirti.
Yeah.
Let's go into a little detail on this. I will, Vipaja. Okay, so Dela, I take it to be from among the Namgyurs. Okay, or on this subject, Dela.
The J-Docs, now we're on.
I don't. We're not in Chitapa, so don't think we went to Vaishashika or
Okay.
something. He's just. I'm gonna expand a little bit on the Namgyurs.
Okay. The numbers.
Vikartis.
Yep.
I'll say a little bit about, somebody came up and asked, well, who's doing what here? If some of the expressions are agents, who and how. And then Chandakirti agrees to talk about it, basically. That's what's going on here. He could have said, check other texts, which is the mean way to answer a question. Okay. Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, these three are the three gunas, okay? Which in Tibetan is particle, darkness, and courage. The three sattva, the three gunas. Okay, particle, darkness, and courage. And again, particle can have connotations of menstruation, or of dust, or of dirt, in the sense of what you sweep out, or something like that. Okay, or it can also mean atomic particle, but not here. Dual has sometimes. It's gonna be for lazy people, and he's about to explain that. So here we get into the personality trait part. He's gonna talk about it a little bit. Okay, ready? Dual ni yodan jupi dangni cheno. The nature. Okay, dangni chen means it's the Atman and Mahatma, right? It means it's a combination. And then he's going to define each of the three gunas in the way that Buddhists define the elements, which Adam will tell you often involves, say, this is a $2 question.
The elements involves
Two things.
It's always two things.
Quality and a
What?
descriptive.
Yangshin Yowa, Sarsing Sepa, Sashing Sawa. Okay.
A descriptive and a
There, he seems to be following this pattern. So what he's Dagni Chen here, which is Atman, this spelling means, this usage of it means a combination of, or an embodiment of. Okay. It's an embodiment of Yoa and Jukpa, movement and initiative. Doesn't sound like Thomas, right? But here, I would translate it as movement and initiative, or something like that.
We're talking about Luna?
Yeah, we're talking about Thomas.
Oh,
sure?
Well, that says dual.
I
You
thought
said that was.
dual.
I'm sorry, Rajas.
Yeah,
Rajas.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah. Rajas is of the nature of action and initiative. How's that? Okay. Mumba, Tamas, is of the nature of Chiwa and Yokpa.
Okay.
dullness and heaviness. Yeah.
Yeah, heaviness and coherence. Adherence,
Oh,
really.
yeah.
Yoke means to join in the same way yoga does. Huge. But yokpa means to combine things.
What was our definition in Adam's text of Earth?
Sachin Tepa.
Tepa. It's related. It's similar. to
Solid
that,
and
but it's
supporting.
different.
Solid and
What
supporting.
was that right here? We had it in here.
What?
We had it what?
All right. I'm not-
You're thinking of Yoa in wind, but this is Yokpa.
Okay.
Different word. So Yokpa, the word yoke occurs in Tibetan nowadays for Yokpo, which means slave or servant. connected, attached person. So yok means to attach. I like, to be frank, when I don't know, when I just want, I'm feeling lazy, and I just want an English word in my face. See, here's attendant. Here's a salary of an attendant. Here's a cover. Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. Yoke does mean to cover.
Okay.
Okay. Let me find it for you.
Instead of attached?
Yeah, instead of attached, but I'm gonna get it for you. Here it's a maidservant. Here it is, cover.
Kyle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a cover.
Okay.
And it's sometimes a verb for clothing.
Okay.
Okay, here's to yoke means upper cover.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke that. Okay,
So then yokpa is it still coherence?
here it's to hide or conceal. So it's
Conceal.
conceal, heavy and what do you call that when the clouds are?
Cloud cover.
No, you feel
Impressive.
almost oppressive. I think
Enclosed.
it's almost oppressive.
Encumbered.
It's like a blanket or a blanket of clouds or
Encapsulated.
stifled's pretty good. Yeah, heavy and stifled, something like that. I like stifled. I think stifled would be pretty cool here.
So they can't move? That's sort of what stifle
No, it implies hidden from view almost, or smothered.
Smothered.
Okay, because it applies to blankets and clouds. Okay,
Cool. That's great.
and clothing on your
Sounds
back.
very tennis.
Okay. Nyingtop sattva is a Dagnichen is a combination again of two elements, right? Yangwa and Raptasawa.
Lightness,
Lightness
clarity,
and brightness.
lightness and brightness.
Rock.
Yeah, don't forget you don't have to translate Sanskrit prefixes. You don't have to say super clear. You can just say bright. Got it? Now this is pretty sexy. When we speak of pleasure, pain, and timuk, dark ignorance. I like to translate as dark ignorance. It's emphasis on the darkness. These are synonyms for these three.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it's kind of.
But it's not in order, is it? It's not respectively, is it? Happiness, pleasure, pain, and darkness are synonyms for these three.
Cool.
So rajas is pain.
Yeah.
And the syntax of the Tibetan or the Sanskrit means I would feel comfortable translating as this is what we're talking about when we say that old expression, pleasure, pain, and dark. We're actually referring to these ancient three gunas. So it feels like there used to be some kind of. It feels like the center of the wheel of life or something.
Yes, I was just gonna ask.
You know, Timuk is definitely the third. It's always called Timuk in the middle of the wheel of life. The other two are more like desire and anger. But it almost seems like he's referring to some other list that people knew about. When we talk about pleasure, pain, and dark, this is what we're talking about. So that's what this sentence says, if you're very sensitive to the syntax. Okay.
Which one is pleasure? Sattva?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bright and light.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And Tamas is Timuk, right? So that leaves
Rajas.
Rajas has to be Dingyal.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
See, Roger, 'cause for its
Now I get a little lost here, okay? Didak Chan Yembe Nekap, when these three are in equal balance, when there's a balance between the three, Chanyam, Benekap, in occasions where there are Chanyamba, that's what we call Pradhana, soul, principle, the main one. Okay, that's main one. Sometimes Chitso is a synonym for Prakriti, the general principle of the world, or we call that something principle, root principle, or Zo is in Buddhist literature it came to mean God,
Oh.
you know, the big one, main man.
I think
Prabhu is another translation,
Do they use it as Brahman?
and Pradhana.
I think we had in that original verse, right? It wasn't just Rangshan, it was like so.
Sawi Rangshan.
Sawi.
But sometimes they call it Rangshan Soul, or
Okay.
Soul Rangshan, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's talking about Prakriti. Anyway,
Okay.
when they are balanced, that's called the principle.
It's like unmanifest
P-A-L.
Prakriti.
Okay. There yenden dak tsoe gyurching, rapta shur gyurching. Because in that case, the gunas are the main thing.
Okay.
And because they've been pacified.
Okay.
They become principle and they are quiet. Dedak number mingyo in nekap ni rangshin channel. If you reach a point where they are never changing, what do you call that?
Not eliminated.
Still?
Static?
What's the word?
Oh,
Nay?
still? In perpetual?
There's a word for it.
Stace.
Where they don't change, where they don't ever change. Number mingyo, where they become very stable.
Strong, steady, stable.
Where they no longer
Static, yeah.
vary, something like that. Then we say they have prakrti.
Hey, oh.
Yeah. They're being prakrtish.
Huh?
How weird.
Well,
When
that's
they're not undergoing transformation, we call it. He uses an adjectival ending, prakrti-ish. We call it.
Doesn't
They've
that
reached
seem-
prakrti.
Doesn't it seem to contradict everything we just learned about Prakriti? The rest of
I don't know. Let's keep going.
well, it does stuff.
Yeah,
Constantly doing things, just fast.
yeah. Like asking me to explain science. I don't know. Okay. Now, Rangshin Le Chenpo Te. Now, earlier on in that progression of how things flow out of Prakrti, in a sequence, right? Prakrti leads to
Expressions.
Buddhi, leads to Ahankara, leads to the Tanmatras, leads to the Manindras, leads to the Karmendriyas, leads to Purusha, or something like that. There was a flow. He says, so let's talk about that one. When we say Mahat, Chembo comes from Rangshin, Prakrti, okay? When we say big, comes from nature. That was the first part of that process. When we say Mahat, it's just a synonym for Buddhi. So he made it formal. Mahat is just a synonym for Buddhi. Okay, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
And then Ahankara, pride, comes from big. That Ahankara is of three types. Number Girwa, changing, varying, Nyingtop Chen, having sattva, and Mumbachan, having darkness. So I guess that's maybe this is Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One is the same, one is very similar, and the other one can be read as movement, right? Changing.
Mm-hmm.
So that has that comes in 3 parts or three versions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
Dela number giving ngate. When ahankara is acting in a changing way,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you get tanmatras.
Oh,
Tanmatras.
no, really?
I think so.
That's
You
weird.
get
It should go
form,
the other way.
sound.
Oh, the tanmatras. Oh no,
Yeah.
the changing that should come from tamas though. God, so.
When ahankara changes his tune,
Oh no,
he
that's
creates these tanmatras.
Okay, no way, it's okay.
What
Okay.
are the tanmatras again?
The objects of the 5 senses.
Oh, okay.
Okay, visible things, hearable things, smellable things, tasteable things, and touchable things.
Okay.
To say them easily.
Okay. That's right. I got it.
Now, from nothing more than them, which is a pun. Tanmatra.
Okay.
You see, tanmatrat. From nothing more than those guys. It's a joke. Yeah. That's dakle. From nothing more than them, it's a pun. You get the 5 elements. You get the elements, and then he gives the 5 elements. So when ahankara is feeling like productive,
Mm-hmm.
he turns into the 5 tanmatras, right?
Okay.
But it's still to come what happens when he's feeling courageous or dark.
Oh, that was just the gear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now this is just in his first mode, when in his changeable mode. When ahankara is feeling, changing, productive,
Fancy.
he spits out, then ahankara spits out the tanmatras, and from nothing more than them occurs the elements, which means sa, chu, me, lung, namka, 5 elements, including space.
Oh, it's
Shincha
1
Wataka.
minute.
We just started!
No, you just keep going.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep going because we're into her time now.
Wonderful.
And they're both the reasons why we got stuck in the Sankhya's. It's your fault.
I like it.
It's good to have somebody to blame.
Yeah.
Now, when Nagyal's feeling Ningtopchen,
Courageous.
Sattvic,
Where are you gonna break this?
when Ahankara is feeling Sattvic, in Tibetan, courageous, yeah. From it comes the 5 karmendriyas, the 5 organs of action, which are lakpa, hands, arms, kangba, feet, kup, bunghole, dome, probably misspelled. Okay, owl, I think it's owl. Let's give it a vote here. Here it's different meaning. That's a different one. That's a different one. That's a different one. That's a
I
different
can't
one.
wait to teach the Karmendriyas in Bahamas so we can say bunghole.
You don't have to wait for that.
Yeah.
You can just say it.
He can say it. He can say it to Ezra.
Say it in an official capacity.
Well, this being a British reprint of an Indian's work, there's not going to be a lot of dirty words here.
Uh-huh.
They were Victorians.
Organ of elimination.
Come on, you guys. I know you're in here. There you go.
Five of Hearts.
It is apostrophe. So misspelled here.
Okay.
It should be Adom. It could be an allowable variant, a dumb cup, but I don't know. I doubt it. Okay, dom, sexual organ, and the 5 manendriyas, meaning the eye, the ear, the nose. Adam's going to tell us the rule for telling between ear and nose.
Oh, the R.
Yeah, the word ear has an R. The word nose has an S. They're both N, but one has an R on top and one has an S on top. So that's a clue. That's a trick how to remember.
I just remember snot.
You know, she remembers snot. Okay. Loi Wambo Nga Po. I'm going to cut it here, by the way, just to make it easier for you later. The manendriyas, the 5 mental powers, the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the skin. That's interesting. You usually say this body, but it is your skin, which is the organ of tactile sense. That was kind of cool. And then the thoughts, the mental sense, which in a way is a Dagni Chen, again a combination or an embodiment of something else, of other elements. So think of Dagni Chen as being a combination of other elements. Here he says it's a combination of both.
Both.
Both the sense powers and the objects of the senses.
I think that's what he's saying here.
Of the objects
I'm sorry,
of
the
the senses? No.
organs and the objects.
Is it somehow that the mind is a combination of a manendriya and a karmendriya?
That's more interesting to me because you can create karma with your mind.
But I have a question for you though. In the list of the 25, what comes after the karmendriyas? That's worth some champa for sure. Somebody go find it.
I think there was one other set. Right, there was,
Anjas, manjas, and then the karmanjas were the sets.
But what's the next one after?
I think it's a one thing. It's definitely
Was it Purusha?
So,
yeah, I thought Persia was behind.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the original verse, he says that Prakriti produces...
No, actually the Loi one was supposed to be 6.
Right,
there was a six.
right.
And Yi was the last one, because he said, didn't he say Mik up to Yi? Originally he just didn't list all 6. I believe, isn't it the Manendras are 6? Come on, Mr. Dictionary.
I mean, that's not how he did it. Because, remember, he says...
Are the Manendriya 6 in the original list?
In the original list, he says Maha... he says the list of 7 starting with Maha.
No, that's Tanmatras plus Mahad and Ahankara. I think. Come on, you guys.
We're looking for Loi Wampo. Is that what we're looking for?
Let's go back to the Loi Wambo. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, we gotta go to the other document I was in.
What was the other document? Then maybe that's why.
It's
That's why I
your
phoned the
document.
excuse for not noticing. Or that.
I think it's your document. Loi Wam-
I don't understand.
Oh, 5.
We had thinking under Manindras.
Oh, I see. They have the mental sense. That's weird. Oh, that gets nasty.
I mean,
That gets
I
nasty.
usually see it presented separately.
Wait, yeah, this list gives it as Buddhindriyanas. The 5 are called Buddhindriyanas.
Okay, the 5.
And only one is called Manendriyana.
That kind of
Manendriya.
the way they usually present it.
Okay, well, in this list in your text, it's not, as I've been saying for 2 days, manendriyas are 5 or 6. This text lists them as 5, and they call them budindriyas, and then it separates out the power of the mind as manendriya.
Usually manas is separate from that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is.
So where did I get that from? There must
There
have
was
been
a
a
verse.
third text.
There was a verse in Chandrakirti that we thought said that.
Yeah.
No, maybe it was Shirabwangbo.
Oh.
Yeah. It was right after Chandrakirti gave us that verse. It was right after he gave us the verse, then we
No,
reversed
it's
splitting
it's
them
this
all up.
guy's fault.
We
Okay.
switched to Shara.
Yeah, it's his fault.
Okay. What do you do?
It's Shirabwangbo's fault. He said the 6 low wongs. Here, okay.
Okay.
Right.
From I up to mind. That's where I got it from.
Okay.
So maybe he's confused.
And that's him talking about the group of 7 that includes.
No, he's talking about the 25. You want to know the 25? Here they are. Prakriti, Buddhi, also called Mahat, Ahankara, the 5 tanmatras, the 5 elements, and then the 6 manendriyas.
Yeah.
And then your guy, Choni Lama, split the 6 into 5 and 1 and put mental power after alone, put it alone, which fits where we are now.
Okay.
Because where we are right now, it goes on to describing 5, right? Eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, and then the 1, which is the mind, which is a combination of both. Both what? I don't know.
The last 2 things presented, which were the powers.
Karmendriyas and
It could also be Sattva
Buddha
and
and
Rajas.
Who did?
no, I think he's talking about a combination of these 2 kinds of powers.
Okay.
It's both a power of action and a power of consciousness.
Okay.
That makes sense if you see the mind as the source of karma. Okay? Now, what happens,
Okay.
I would take it to be, we split off mental power because it's both kind of powers. It's both indriyas.
Yeah, that's good.
Buddhi indriya and karma. Now I'm changing my indriya too. And it is the manendriya.
Okay.
But Gyalong Shirwambo called all 6 of them manendriyas, but I think he's wrong. Okay. Mabachen ki ngagyoni. Now what happens if ahankara gets dark? Gets tamasic?
I apologize. So now we're having Manandriya we're saying it's a combination of the Karmendriyas and the Indriyas.
No. Karmendriyas and Buddhindriyas
Buddhindriyas.
equals manendriya.
Okay.
I like it. Your texts put it that way.
Okay.
Charlie Nama put it that way.
Which isn't it?
Gyalong Sherab Wambo added the mental power to the 5 powers of mind.
The Manin.
Yeah,
But now
but Chandakirti and Choni Lama separated out by itself. When it is separated out, it alone gets the name of Manendriya. And the other 5 get to be called Buddhindriyas. Buddhindriyas.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, we're still in Chandrakirti, right? We haven't even
yeah, we're still in Chandakirti. Now, what happens if we didn't get to, we're going to go backwards from here to Tsongkhapa, and then we're going back to your 2 texts and hopefully knock this thing out so we can go on,
Okay.
which is what Utpala is hoping for. Okay, Mumbachen. Now, suppose Ahankara gets tamasic.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Right?
What is left?
What's left?
Yeah, I know.
Covered
The
everything.
remainders.
Oh, he says it acts both ways as it does on the other two occasions. That's a cheap way out.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's in everybody's-
it acts both ways as it acts in the way it acts in ways combining both of the other two ahankaras.
I mean, it's kind of interesting because what you usually hear, they say that about Rajas. So they would say that tamas makes
Mhm.
the tanmatras and
It would
the
make more
mahabhutas,
sense.
and that sattva creates the indriyas on each of, but each of them do that under the influence of Rajas.
Yeah.
Because Rajas does stuff. That
You see, but he's saying tamas, so I just.
He's almost making Thomas kind of active.
I know.
It'd be easier if it had said
That Rajas,
deactivates the other two. But he said activates
or
the
if
other
he had
two.
switched Rajas and tamas here, that'd be fine.
You could read this sentence as saying, I mean, I could twist it to darkness is the original state of the other two. And then they wake up and do their thing. You know, you could say that. You know, you get this dark ahankara at the beginning of the other two ahankaras. You can read the Tibetan that way. I don't know if it's
I mean,
helpful.
We could just say what he says and let someone else argue about why it doesn't match what we now think Sankhya says. I mean, it's kind of. I'm not going to apologize for Chonin Lama. He can debate it with them.
Yeah, he can write a letter. Okay. I hope we're almost done, Utpal.
With this particular part of this mess.
4 pages left.
But who's gone?
Okay, this is clear, unfortunately. Mahat, Mr. Big, and Ahankara, pride in Tibetan, and the 5 tanmatras, the 5 basic building blocks is the way I would say it, they are both Rangshin and Namgyur.
Well, their expressions and prakriti.
Yeah, they are nature and expressions.
I'm sorry, Mahat is, Ahankara is.
And the 5 tanmatras.
Okay, great.
They are both. And the 10 powers, meaning 5 karmendriyas and 5 buddhindriyas, along with yi, which is manendriya, making 11, right? And along with the great elements, which is 5, Sachu Me Lung Namka, they are only namgyurs.
Okay.
They are only expressions. Okay? Those only get to be expressions.
This is directly restating what we were taught in the verse that we found.
It's the verse, yeah. He's about to say that.
Okay.
Rangshin ni, but nature can never be an expression.
Right.
It's always never an expression. Okay, you know, Shejawani Shung Lukso, that's what the verse is saying. Okay. Jita Changba Chen De Taki Deta Kelam Batation do De Yewa Chungse Latene Mutek Chen Nam Ki Lukta De Bagyote. There started with the Sankhya system, and there came to be other groups that split off from them.
Oh,
Okay, Yewa Chungse Latene. So, you know, it broke into sub-schools. And due to that, we get lots of different Tirthaka systems, non-Buddhist systems. For example, the first one I'd like to talk about is the detailers, Vaisheshikas. And then I cut it there. I cut Chandakirti there, because he's done with the Sankhya's. He's moving on to the Vaisheshikas. Now, we have struggled through Gelong Shera Wambo and Chandakirti.
So Chandrakirti gives a pretty serious.
Yeah, and his
context.
treatment is unusually readable.
Yeah.
It's not typical that Tengyur material is that readable. So his auto commentary is, it's almost conversational.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's not typical for any Tengyur writer. So thank you, Chandakirti. You were almost clear. He was clearer than Tsongkhapa. And now Tsongkhapa's commenting on Chandakirti.
Someday someone's got to do his whole
Auto commentary.
Yeah, that'd be sexy. Because it's not that hard. I believe the Dalai Lama has taught it in the South. Maybe that's why. It's pretty easy. Okay, so we got the verse, right? Let's see if there's more. Now we're continuing back to Tsongkhapa. Okay? Now we get Tsongkhapa rehashing Chandakirti. So you can say you've been through the Tsongkhapian version. But I don't think he's going to say anything new. But it's just nailing it down for you guys. I'm just trying to get you to, I want to overkill it because it's so confusing. De la debu rap tu chepe na rangshin. We call rangshin because it rap tu chepa's results. Okay, we call rangshin prakriti. I put the Sanskrit here for you because it rap prakarana's results. It's a pun in the Sanskrit. Whether Tsongkhapa knew it was a pun, I suspect he did. And it comes from Chandakirti. So most of what you're going to see here is a very close rendering of Chandakirti by Tsongkhapa. He's practically taking it directly out. Why do we call this thing nature? Prakriti? Because it prakaras. Lots of results. It's very productive. Okay. Kap kanda chena. Kap kanda chena. Well, when does it do its overproducing? You know, under what circumstances does it produce? Do so. When it sees that Purusha wants something. Okay? When it sees, and it personifies both of them, you see? When it sees that baby Purusha wants something. Okay? Kangits, and it's a little clearer than Chandakirti. Kangits dala sopa yunyo lonchupi namba chenki dupa kipa. When it starts to feel, when Purusha starts to feel this wanting, what does the wanting look like? He wants to see what it's like to experience sounds, objects like sounds. Okay. Then what happens? They'd say at that time, Prakriti recognizes the desire that Purusha has. Prakriti recognizes this desire, Yongsu Shepa, and it joins with Kibu. And here it's more clear than Chandakirti's wording. You have the word with, you see. I think Chandakirti just said block jor, but Tsongkhapa adds with.
Okay.
So it's more clearly that somehow they combine. Okay. They join.
I'm sorry, I've got to get a cord.
Here we go. I think that's it. Yep. Got it. That's yours?
You want to use this one?
Got it. Thank you very much.
Then, dene. Now so is being used for Prakriti. Prabhu or Pradhana.
Okay.
Then number one. Okay, which is how a god idea is referred to later in Tibetan literature. Okay, then the main guy, Mr. Main Guy, provides jin, gives, like Jinbe Paramita, the first Paramita, gives sound, supplies the sound.
Okay.
Then the first principle supplies the sound. First principle meaning Prakriti. Okay, Deitsuni Diyante. Well, what's the process by which first principle supplies sound to its baby little Purusha? Prakriti produces mahat. And in turn, this kyang means in turn, dele kyang, and in turn, mahat produces ahankara, pride. And from that comes the 11 powers. Now we know 5 buddhindriyas, 5 karmendriyas,
One big old manendriya.
and single manendriya.
Okay.
Yeah, those 11. And the 5 tanmatras for a total of
Well,
16, starting with the wangbos, starting with the indriyas. 5 indriyas, 1 indriya, and 5 tanmatras. 16. 16. By the way, we are now Sankhyas. We are counters. You know, we're doing it right now. You know, we just became Sankhya's in the real sense. They're always like, no, the 5 made the 6, and then you got the 7, and you know, we just became Sankhya's. Because we're dealing with Sankhya.
Numbers.
Yeah, short A. Sankhya means numberist, a derivative of Sankhya. You see? So, and by the way, it's a second column, right? Kya.
Sankhya.
And the prenasal doesn't come from the labial row. It cannot.
So it's not some.
It's in. You cannot say Samkhya in Tibet in Sandhi rules of Sanskrit. It's illegal. A guy would smash you in the head if you were his student. You say Sankhya. Okay. That's the prenasal for the guttural row. The prenasal for the labial row is M, Sampati, meditation. You see? Okay. It's pet peeve of mine. Okay. From Mahat comes Ahankara. From Ahankara comes total of 11 Indriyas and 5 tanmatras for a total of 16 on that side.
okay.
A group of 16, Sokso. And then this Le Kyang again means,
And in turn,
good, I'll kiss you. From the 16 in turn come the 5 elements. And this gets confusing, okay?
Oh, good.
This
Yeah.
gets confusing here.
oh now,
Chudupo le kyang jungwa nga ni. Cut the sentence there. You know, if I was going to be nice to you, I would actually create a separate paragraph. And that's why they say the 5 tanmatras of sound and the rest make the 5 elements. Okay, Shijawani Rimbo. So he's quoting somebody, but it's in the middle of his other sentence, and it's really messy. It gets really confusing. Okay. So I'm going to go back. From those 16 come the 5 elements, and that's why they say the 5 elements come from sound and the rest, which are from the tanmatras. Okay. So he's just repeating part of the process, but it's confusing because it sounds like the process reverted a little bit. Okay, remember, you know, that's the stages of how things come out of Prakriti to make Purushi happy.
Okay.
Okay, who wants to hear something? When the verse says these are not expressions, okay? I'm sorry, it's talking about, I guess now we know it's Purusha, right? Or no, yeah.
Prakriti is also not an expression.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I think he's talking about Prakriti actually. When it says it's not an expression, what it means to say is that it only produces results.
Right.
It only hyper-produces results. Okay, and it's also to say that it is not itself an expression such as Mahat and the rest.
how can you say only and then say also this?
I'm just giving you the,
I know.
yeah, you translate it into normal English. I'm just trying to catch all the Tibetan words for you.
Such as.
Now he's going to repeat that thing which we've heard twice already, and now we understand already. You know, mushi musum. He's doing mushi musum between being an expression and a doer.
Sure, of course.
Okay, so we just had a guy who's a doer but not an expression. Chembala sopa, Duni, Mahat, and the other
The
6.
other 6, right?
Yeah.
The list of 7 that start with Mahat.
Yeah, good. They are both Ba'ang, okay? They are both producers and they are expressions, meaning causes and results. And he repeats that sweet thing by somebody. Chambala sopa yang rangi namgir la tuni rangshin. Somebody translate.
Oh, this is Mahat again and the others.
Expression.
By the way, it's a long class. If somebody needs pee-pee, just go. You don't have to be filled. If you need something, just go, because this is a long one. Okay, Chambala sopa yang. Just give me LTOS and we're done. I know Sugan can give me Tudru. I'm not even looking at you. I'm just waiting to hear it.
It's to say that
You are behind me, right? What is
That part you get to guess.
what is Tudru the definition of? Of dependence, yeah. Tune drupa is the definition of dependent origination. That which occurs in reliance. That's the last time I'm giving it to you for free. Next time I'm charging you. Okay? So if this means rely on, now do this sentence up to comma for me.
Okay, Mahat and the
Mahat.
Mahat and the rest, though themselves, are dependent, are
Come on.
Okay.
This was sexy. Somebody must remember. I'll give it to you.
okay.
Relative to.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there. Relative to their namgirs,
Yeah.
they are rangshin.
Right. Relative to the things that are expressions of them, they themselves are prakriti.
Prakrti-ish.
Prakriti.
Okay. We can call them doers relative to their own results. But relative to now he modifies Prakriti. Mother Prakriti, Mama Prakriti, relative to Mama Prakriti, Mula Prakriti, they are
expressions which are depend on.
namgirs.
Okay.
No, the two name means relative to. You see? Relative to a thing's results, it's a cause. Relative to a thing's causes, it's a result. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay? It's got 3 things here.
Mula prakriti.
Okay. Now that was the second mu. Both is and is. The first mu was A but not B. The second mu so far is A plus B. Guess what's coming next?
Neither A nor B.
Well, it happens to be the other one.
Okay.
B but not A. Okay. Loi Wambola Sopa, the Buddhindriyas, those 16, meaning Mahabhutas and Manendriya, are only namgirs.
Okay.
They're only expressions. B but not A.
Food industries.
They are in no way prakritis.
Okay.
They are in no way natures.
Okay. This
Okay.
is the food industries, the karmendrias,
And then Nika Mayimbe Mu.
Both.
Okay.
The mu if it's neither.
Good. I'm glad you didn't say.
Not both.
Yeah. The mu which is neither. What's the mu which is neither?
Purusha.
Neither.
Yeah. Purusha is the thing which is neither. Okay. Now he's going to go through the process of liberation that Chandrakirti mentioned, which is kind of a process of isolation, right? Nawala sope wamanga, the 5 Buddhindriyas of ear and the rest. Okay, why he didn't start with meek, I don't know.
Because we're talking about sound that the
Maybe, yeah.
that's so excited about.
They get somehow fairy dust sprinkled on them by Manendriya, the
that's
mind.
Where's the
Jinla.
fairy dust?
That's Jinla.
They get they get somehow transformed by the mind, and
You've been through this process.
yeah.
Every day.
And then the mind starts to get attracted to the objects that it is holding, such as sound and the rest. And from that, lo shambache vidina kebu sambachedo. And this is weird. And from that, oh yeah, from the objects to which mind is attracted, Purusha starts to have thoughts towards them. Purusha starts to think about them. Okay? Because the objects of the senses are detected by buddhi, Purusha gets into the picture, thinking about those objects. If I hadn't had Buddhism, don't think you're so intelligent that you could have figured it out.
No.
You would be a diehard Sankhya. And you'd have a Sankhya children's group pin, and you would have been, We're not intelligent enough to have, or maybe we are, to have outgrown our childhood, what we were taught in school. We would have been Hitler Youth or something, No, I mean, given the circumstances, if it was your culture, you would have done it. We are not so intelligent that we would have, been the one to go to jail or something. Deitar Yula Chuduki Chudupe. Purusha wants to take part in its objects, sound and the rest, okay? And therefore, it begins to take part or to experience them, to taste them, okay? And then at such time, Kange say, at such time as its attraction to those objects begins to lessen, okay? Then he adds something. Tsongkhapa adds something. That's why I threw him in here. Between the 3, right? Chandakirti, Gelong Shirabwambo, and Tsongkhapa. He says, Ki bu yula nyemik tepa. Purusha begins to see problems in these objects. We didn't have that before.
As opposed to boredom.
Yeah, it begins to think these are not quite perfect. It starts to see less than perfection in those objects. Like, you stay with your girlfriend one night and it's really exciting in high school, and then, the second night she starts to snore and her nose and stuff coming out. And boyfriend also. But you begin to see the defects in something after you've been exposed to it for a while. Chapadan Tower Gyurpa. And then he loses his attraction. So we had our tawa before and we didn't know what it was. It just said separated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. Begins to lose his attraction for it. And in time, Rimki, they'd say at that point, Rimki in time starts to meditate, starts to engage in meditation. And because he's doing something, because he's doing meditation, he achieves clairvoyance, which we call the eye of deity. And this is misspelled. Shay here is misspelled. Okay, it should have been Shay. Okay. He starts to develop that clairvoyance called the Deva's Chakshu. Deva Chakshu.
I mean, is there any way in hell to make that be Viveka Kyati?
To make it what?
Viveka Kyati. No.
I'm not going there.
Okey-doke.
That's you can go there if you want to.
There's so many things, like questions in debate.
At which point you twist this into
No,
Buddhism?
won't
That's
do
up
it.
to you.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna let Jetsunkava be him now.
Okay.
That's, again.
And because he has this new faculty of Deva Chakshu, deity's eye, he can look upon soul, which here we take as Prakriti, Prabhu or Pradhana. Okay? He can look upon the big one. Okay? And De Depadang, when he has looked upon it, now he clarifies who gets shy. Because in Chandakirti, he didn't say who it was, and it could have been taken as Purusha got shy. But here it says, soul gets shy. Prakriti gets shy. Okay? Prakriti gets shy.
That was Prakriti the first time, too.
I supplied Prakriti, but he didn't say. And I could have read it as Purusha in 10% of the syntactical chances. But here I'm happy because by having a third point of comparison, we know it's Prakriti who shies away. Shengi Pumaitar.
Someone else's wife. Like another
Yeah. By the way, this tar, which means similar to someone else's wife, is not the same ta that Chandakirti used, which meant to look upon another's wife. Okay? He used as, who was looked at, who got looked at by a man on the street. Okay? Not like that. He uses star as like a, similar to a, it's just a small difference. Becomes shy. Ngotsa means, abashed. It means exactly abashed. She becomes, it's not really shy. That's a different word in Tibetan. Abashed means,
Is it the same Notsa?
shrinks slightly.
Is it the same one in Notsa Chalya?
Yeah, it is. But that has a specific technical meaning that's different.
Tasha, don't say anything for a few minutes. Okay, you're
The
done.
plane back to China is going to fall down.
Is that hoagie?
Is that a grinder?
Okay. Yuri batteries.
Now we get a clarification of what was a little murky in Chandakirti next. We said divorced from or something. She no longer goes to the Atman and she stays apart from him. I'll read it that
Did
way.
he also just switch to Atman? What
Right here it says Dakla.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I'm reading it. Okay,
She no longer.
and I believe it's correct.
Cool.
Sometimes I'm not sure, and sometimes I'm pretty sure. This I'm pretty sure. That's illegal in this room.
Except when you're going to kiss
No, put this away. This not good for our students. Okay, it's chocolate.
Yeah.
I know it'll make you stupid. Dakla Mindo. I was in Barnes and Nobles in Flagstaff. A couple walked in, tourists, because often tourists are traveling through there to the Grand Canyon. And they look like they're from Romania or something. And they have a 5-year-old kid. They buy a chocolate chip cookie like this. And they give it to the kid to shut him up. He eats for 20 minutes. He's next to me, and then he starts screaming. And they start hitting him and stuff. And I'm like, I should hit you, You're the ones who gave him the chocolate chip cookie, And I was like, how long does it take to figure out that you shouldn't eat that stuff if you don't want to cry? All right.
Our text somehow.
Pumengosu.
Rajas.
Dakla Mindroshin Dawagiro. I would read it. I would keep the personification going here if I was translating.
Okay.
She no longer wants to go to the Atman. Because remember, she's going to stand alone now. She's going to be
Yeah.
a single mom. Oh, but she's not a mom either. She's not a producer. Okay. Dala Mindroshin Dawagiro. And this is nice because this is the future tense. Chandrakirti gave us the past tense. She decides, I'm not going to him anymore. Future tense. And I'm going to stay apart from him. She makes a decision. Purusha makes a decision. I will stand alone. And that's liberation.
Wow. And he did the same thing as changed Doc, right?
Yeah, here, done. Okay, now, Namgiri Tsotam Chekyan Kewe Rimbale Dog, Gone. Then you get almost like a dissolution process, like we have in the Vajrayogini practice. Okay, it's a dissolution practice. So you're supposed to reverse now, and you could lay it out for somebody. You know, Manandriya dissolves into
No, maybe that way.
Manandriya dissolves into the Mahabhutas, dissolves into the Buddhindriyas, and that dissolves into the Karmendriyas, dissolves into the Tanmatras, dissolves into the Ahankara, dissolves into the Buddhi, dissolves back into the Prakriti. So you got to reverse it. That's all he's saying. I think I got it out of order, to be honest. So all these namgirs, the whole club of expressions, the whole little club, that little group, all those expressions begin to melt back into Rapta Tim, see? That's a Timbargyur. Chiwune Timber Lepana Gawa, Dimana Choga, Nina, Telemana Keka, they went in over to Lemana Lingi, she gave they went and Domini, you may be singing in and Yoma should say Timbargyur. They melt into, so they melt back into Tso Deni, the original big guy, meaning Prakriti. Okay, they melt back into Prakriti in reverse order from which they came out, Kirwa. Yeah, Rimbale Do. So in the reverse order to what they came out. Okay, they melt back into Prakriti. Miselwe Ngor Kirpa. It takes on some kind of murky nature. I think he's talking about Prakriti. I don't think he's talking about the expressions. Because they seem to be gone. Miselwa.
So-
Okay?
Okay.
Then he becomes some kind of what do you call it? Amorphous? What do you call it? Amorphous.
Right.
Yeah, I would say amorphous. I got
Okay.
some amorphous here.
Others that's good.
It's more amorphous.
Supermorphous.
He turns into some kind of amorphous. Now, who turns in? It sounds like Prakriti to me, because the other guy's already Timba.
Yeah, right.
They already melted into the other things. Okay? And at that time, by that time, they'd say, Kebu is Nyakchik. What did we say? Yeah. It's not just alone, it's like
A singular.
it's like lady whose man never showed up for the date.
Totally.
Nyakchik is that Nyakchik is that strong. The word Nyakchik is that strong. Standing there, what do you call it? Stood me up. Yeah, feels like that. Stood me up. Okay, got it?
So this is not liberation. We're talking about them being stood up.
Wait, I'm not done yet. Purusha is left on his own, alone, and that's what we call liberation. We're almost fed up with the Sankhya now.
I think it was awesome.
Utpala's like, almost? How much more of this is there? Oh boy. Okay. Definitely don't want to start next term with this.
I'm just gonna read.
What is he going to do?
We have
By the way, if he...
15 minutes left.
I think we can do it. And that's liberation. Where were we? Yeah, that's liberation. Okay. Now, that Atman, now he's referring to it as Atman. To me, it feels like the result of a process. You know, the Purusha stood up alone. Now he's referring to it as Atman. What is he referring to? What was the last time somebody called something Atman? Oh, I don't want to go back to that Prakriti, Atman. So maybe Atman's the Prakriti, I don't know.
Again, I'm pretty sure that.
No, right here.
To Purusha there.
but
No,
she doesn't
Purusha didn't want to go back to Atman.
I thought Prakriti didn't want
I'm
to
not going back to Atman, I'm going to stay apart from Atman.
But that
She said.
Isn't it
There
Prakriti
we go,
not
that's
wanting
better.
to go?
No.
Stood up. I didn't
It's
see that.
Purusha doesn't want to go back.
Oh, right. Purusha's the one who went into a deep state of meditation.
No, you're right.
Right.
I missed it.
Oh, now we got a distinction. Prakriti doesn't want to go back to Atman.
Yeah. So Prakriti's had some sort of awesome result, but it's still not key, like liberation.
I don't know.
Prakriti had a result is also liberated. Prakriti doesn't get liberated.
Mother Nature. That's real.
Because that Atman has a nature of standing in isolation always, taktu, we call it takpa, unchanging.
So,
Okay.
so then it makes sense what you were saying that it changes to dak after the.
No, I don't know now because isn't this on the list of qualities of
Oh.
Prakriti?
The Prakriti causes stuff, but it's not caused by anything.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think
You figure it out at home.
Okay.
Take this to New Mexico. Get it out of Arizona. Kakshi ni jepa po yin la, kakshi ni jepa po yin shen la. Can you just clarify for me which of these guys is doing something and which isn't? Okay.
I hope this is him talking, not you.
Which of these guys is a producer
Okay.
and which of them are not a producer? Okay. Now he goes into the same conversation that Master Chanakirti. Well, about that, he kind of sidesteps it for a while. He doesn't clearly say the gunas are producers or non-producers. He just says, well, now that you mention that, okay, and then he goes on to the gunas. Hopefully he ties it up at the end. Well, on this subject, Tila, Dul Mun Nindom Niyantan Sumo. He's directly quoting Chanakirti now. Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva are the three gunas. Okay?
Yes.
What is Tu? What is Rajas? Rajas? Am I right? Oh,
Initiatory.
it is the combination of movement and initiative. Okay? Action and initiative.
DCI level 8.
Tamas, what's darkness? Tamas? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, tamas is of the nature of heavy and blanketing.
Yes. Cover. Oh,
Smothering.
smothering. Yeah.
Yeah, heavy and smothering, like a heavy bank of clouds. Oppressive. Nyingdopni, sattva is light, is a combination of lightness and brightness.
Right.
Okay. And that expression we have, pleasure, pain, and darkness, dark ignorance, that expression is actually doesn't refer to anything except these three. That expression was always talking about these three, so it must have been a common expression. He might be referring to the three things in the middle of Wheel of Life. I don't think so.
Right, they don't. Okay.
directly quoting Chandakirti here when I wish he wouldn't, so we could have more information. Didakchanya Bhikabni, when those three gunas are equal, are acting in balance, we call them the main guy. So that would say they're Prakriti.
Yeah.
The three gunas in balance we call Prakriti.
Right.
It seems to be saying.
Totally.
Why? Because in that case, the gunas are main things.
Mm-hmm.
And because in that case, they're at a state of peace. Okay. Now, this is interesting. Now he changes slightly, and it's kind of sexy. When those three, when soul is in balance, okay, but begins to modify. Modifications of soul we call rangshin, prakriti. Okay.
Oh, that's
Okay. When Kirti begins to get, well, I'm sorry.
Purusha.
No, when main man starts to modify, we call it nature, prakriti. Prakriti is the state of balance when it starts to move. Okay, and then you get this result of the movement, right?
So just lose where we are. Could you have added this recently?
I'm sorry, take it back. I take it back. It's the opposite. When they are in a state of not moving, it's nature.
Okay.
When they're not changing, it's called nature. Okay? And then from nature comes Mahat. Mahat and Buddhi are synonyms. Now he adds something that Chandakirti didn't add. He says, Chambadan Lonyini, Mahat and Buddhi are just synonyms. Then he says something weird, okay? Chi-yo means outer objects, okay? And Nangi-kebo means the inner person, okay? Suknyan means Suknyan ki cheshin ki suknyan, the reflection in a mirror. Suknyan means a reflection in a mirror.
Yeah.
Okay. Nika Charawa means they both make their appearance.
Outer objects and
then it's a chic. It is a thing in which both make their appearance like a reflection in a mirror.
Mahat is.
I don't know.
That would be, that'd be traditional.
Oh. Yeah, you could say it is the thing in which Purusha
Yes.
and outer objects both make their appearance.
Totally.
It's getting kind of mind only. Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Some people have said that actually. Chamboleni, from Mahat comes Ahankara, pride. And from pride comes three different things.
Mahat comes
Oh, this is interesting. From pride comes three things. Number Girwa, Chen. The Chen is uncomfortable here. I wish he had said number Girwa, but he didn't. So he said involving the expressions. He didn't say expressions. And then, oh yeah, okay. He's talking about this is when it starts to move. Okay? And that's called involving its expressions. And the other author, Chandakirti, called it called it number gyurwe cup, the changing time, as opposed to the dark time and and the sattvic time.
Okay.
Okay, but he never said the time of movement is the rajasic. He didn't use that language, but it seemed to be implied.
So involving the expressions here of rajas and then sattva
Yeah, and then separately he talks about sattva and tamas. Okay.
in the same.
Once the ahankara gets more rajasic, right, more expressionist, out of it comes the 5 tanmatras, and he lists them. Okay, that's easy. And from that comes the elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and space. Shri Jawa. This is important. This could be either Sheja Tako or Shejawa Dako. I think it's this. I think it's Shejawa Dako. Okay. This is not fit Tibetan grammar. Neither did my sentence just now. I'm getting tired. Earth, water, fire, wind, and space, what we call them, comes out of, that's the elements that come out of the tanmatras. Okay? Now I'm going to cut this, which I should have done before.
It's just 2 minutes left.
Okay. How much we got? Oh, we can finish it. Okay, let's finish it. What happens after this? I have one more class?
No.
No.
You're
I'm free?
Free
Free
man.
as a bird.
Wow. Okay. Let's finish it. And then we'll be done with it. Ningtop chen kingagyani, when ahankara gets more sattvic, okay, then it starts to produce the karmendriyas, 5, and then he lists them. There's a problem here with the Tibetan. Okay, it shouldn't say this.
Nakoda.
Wampong.
Oh, yeah.
It's just weird. It should have said Leki Wambo Napo Dot, comma. See, meaning the hands, the feet, the bunghole, and the sexual organ. Which one's missing there?
Sexual organ.
No, it's there. Don't.
Oh, don't. No, it's
Ka. Oh, okay. This should have been ka. Yeah, this should have been ka. Okay. It's DAG. Thanks a lot. Okay. And okay, there's 5 organs of activity. And then loy wambonga, and it produces the 5 indriya. Buddhindriyas. Yeah, Buddhindriyas, which is the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the skin. Another spelling of skin, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's loud.
Which is, and when we say skin here, he clarifies for you, we're talking about the bodily power. What we normally call the power of the body, the Sankhya's call the power of the skin. Ours is a misnomer, theirs is maybe more accurate. That which it is, which tangible, which feels tactile sense. It should have been called the power of skin, maybe. Except it can also be inner. Anyway.
Does he clarify the book?
Excuse me? He does not clarify the both. I'm sorry. Okay? And you get the power of the mind, which is a combination of both. I take it to be, an instrument of action and an instrument of perception. Now, we're almost done. when ahankara gets dark, it becomes an inspiration for the other two as well.
Weird. Okay.
Wow.
Whatever.
Doesn't say.
He's pretty much just quoting.
Yeah, exactly, almost exactly. Then he goes into the Mushi thing. Now in here, Mahat, Ahankara, and the 5 Tanmatras, those 7 are both Prakriti and expression. The 5 powers and the mind and the 5 elements are only expressions. And Mama Prakriti, as opposed to the baby Prakritis here, Rangshinsoni, is only Prakriti and not expression. Shepani Shunglukso. That's what their book is saying.
Oh,
Yay,
we
finished
seen
this
that one
Sankhya.
already, right?
No, it's exactly
Oh.
Chandrakirti's. We finished the Sankhya school from. That's basically, that's the main information in Buddhist literature about the Sankhya's. I don't know if you can find more detail about what's going on with the lonely lady and stuff, but maybe you can. But I think it's enough to give an interesting class at the Bahamas or something. I think it'd be really interesting to say this, and to put it up to show that it's a translation and that you're not just paraphrasing it or something. But I think it'd be really interesting, and it comes from, 8th century. So probably most of their explanations from then are not that clear. So. Anyway.
You found out that Vasubandhu wrote the essay about this.
I didn't look.
Oh.
He may have. I didn't look about it. When Tsongkhapa explains it, he's paraphrasing Chandrakirti.
Okay.
Yeah. And it came up because.
The comparative philosophy text and
Oh, we're talking about what sort of a self we deny.
Yeah. We're talking about Gokcha.
Right.
What's the self that Jikta, that first link is looking at? That's how the conversation started. Okay.
shall we? Sure.
It's really tacky to do my law with a mouthful. Hang on. I've done it.
By one of us.
That's how I know it's tacky.
Sashi Puki Jukshin Metok Dram Rira Blingshin Yende Gempadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uwargi Jokun Namda Shingla Juparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami Gewati Gewokun Sunam Yeshe Tsok Shing Sunam Yeshe Lejungwe Dampar Kunito Parsho.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you, Geshe.
Oh, thank you.